TGIF, everybody.
Happy Friday, casual Friday on the OO show.
Casual. Casual.
One day I'm going to wear a suit. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's right.
Casual Friday, big game tonight.
Big game tonight. They're 2-0, right?
2-0.
Who are they playing?
They're dominating the Bucks after 2 games.
Not playing.
Wow.
They're dominating.
What happened to the Bucks? Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
that's
listen,
a separate show.
I feel bad. I feel bad for Milwaukee. We should put Milwaukee on this video right here because mean streets.
Every morning at 8:45 Eastern, Option Omega's got your back. Troy's dreaming big like LeBron. Matt's backtesting like a daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Fellas, market crashing, down 14 points.
Oh, God. I was going to say, what? It was down 8 earlier.
Yeah,
You scared me there for a second. Yeah.
down 14. I remember a day when I'd say, "Ooh, spicy open."
Yeah,
No.
we're down, moving down 14. VIX is going to pump.
VIX is going to pump.
VIX probably will pump today at down 14, but
So this is I just like I called it yesterday, inside day.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
glad my mechanically tested automated trades completely ignored the
Yeah.
call out.
Troy's
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, it's I thought the exact same thing for about 10 minutes in the morning.
Yeah.
Or 15 minutes in the morning.
But listen, it's a 3-strike situation, and I've been pretty good lately. So that was only strike 1, because today, fellas, today's an inside day.
Okay.
I'm calling it, because here's the thing: where we're at right now, 54.96, is basically that 5,500 strike. It's war today.
Yeah.
Everybody
5,500 ES.
Wow,
Yes.
look at the volume there. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, we are going to, if we get past that level, we're back more or less to pre-Liberation Day.
Crash over. Tariff
Pre-Liberation
resolved.
range.
Yeah.
And so that's a big emotional level for people. And I think, if you remember, it seems like 16 years ago, but we kind of got down to that 5,500 level in SPX.
Yes.
And we could not hold it. Like, that was the low for a while. And then we kind of retested a little bit towards it and then bounced again, higher low. And then we just dropped, obviously, well below that. And so I think today, I mean, unless there's some news that comes out, you look at the overnight action. I mean, we were up 50 points from here. 50 points from here overnight.
Oh,
Yeah, there was an earnings right. I saw an insane candle right after the close from Google earnings.
Yeah.
And did we hold that though most of the night?
No, that was only like a 10-point candle, I think.
No. Okay.
And then we opened up, I think 10, and then we were kind of up 20 a lot. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the data here. We were up 30 for a lot of the night.
Okay.
And And so anyway, I mean, today's action, I think, is going to be really back and forth. I think we're going to trade through that number a bunch of times is my guess. And short of any market moving news, I think the market would love to just settle the weekend right here.
And how interesting is it, the fact that it's Friday, right?
Yeah.
And, those things, usually Fridays, a lot of times, lately wouldn't want to be short going or wouldn't want to be long going into Friday because with the tariff stuff. But now it's going to work just the opposite, right?
Yeah. Who knows what could come out Friday? I mean, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's still very much a tweet driven. This is a tough tongue twister.
Yeah.
Tweet driven environment.
Yeah. What do you think about the whole thing with China? And it seems like this, do you think this bothers President Trump? It's like they're making him out like, you cried wolf, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on who is telling the truth, I suppose. Whether good news is good news or bad news is bad news.
That's right.
I mean, they're both sitting there saying different things. So, I'm American, born and raised Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm never going to take China's side on who's telling the truth. But it is a moment where you kind of look back at your old president and say, "No, make sure we're on the right side."
Yeah, make sure we're on the right side.
Yeah, I mean, I without getting macroeconomic though, discussing China's self-reporting economic data.
That's what I mean to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-reporting. I love that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be the last one you'd want to believe on self-reporting. Right?
Yeah.
Well, history again. That probably for a separate podcast. There's much digital ink has been spilt about the accuracy or lack thereof in transparency and self-reported Chinese data.
Yeah. Which is a great reminder. The OO Show Politic Edition happening at 10 p.m. every night.
That's right.
At our show.
That we dress up for. We wear suits for
in person only.
In person only. A lot of alcohol involved. Anyway. So we have been talking about opening range breakouts, and it turned out to be a great week for it because we've had some moves up this week. And we're going to finish it with a killer test today. This is a good trade. I mean, again, as good trades can be, this isn't financial advice, but this is my favorite. And this is a opening range breakout call butterfly. So just to review real quick, what is an opening range breakout? Well, you set an opening range. It could be 9:30 to 9:35. I mean, it could be a 5-minute breakout. You can do it in Option Omega where you set, basically, you come down here and you say, we're going to use an opening range breakout. We assume the start time is 9:30 and because it's opening, and you set the end time, right? And you can decide whether it's high only or low only or high and low. In this case, it's high only. And so this trade, what it does is anytime between 10:45 and 12:15 that we break out of that first hour's range to the upside, we are going to open a balanced call butterfly. And it's a 50 delta long strike. You're going to move the shorts up 40 points, and then you're going to move the long up 40 points past that. And you're only going to do this when we're above the 3-day SMA. We talked about this yesterday. Basically, you want some sort of indication that we're on a smooth uptrend, as smooth as can be. And a 3-day SMA is basically saying like, yeah, we've been going up lately. So there's a good sign that, we're probably in an uptrend right now. We're allocating 5% of our portfolio. And as you can see, the drawdown is still relatively high, but you are making so much that it offsets that drawdown a bit. And so, guys, first thoughts about this.
I love orbs and have traded something very similar to this. Still trade an orb, and they are great. There's, a lot of discussion about edge, and what edge exists in the market. Does edge exist? And orbs are something that you can back test. This one's about 3 years, but you can back test orbs on a longer time frame. And one of the things I like about them with 0 day is execution. Like on this one, it's extremely liquid. You're at the money for the shorts, near the money for the calls ish. I mean, 80 points is still today's market that's near the money. And yeah, as you can see, this has still been a very good environment for orbs in general. Now there's a million Skittles in the rainbow, and there's a million varieties on the orb that you can run. But you asked for our opinion. I'm a big fan of the opening range breakouts. So this is a high side breakout. So those happen a good amount, and you can also do a low side, an opening range breakout, a breakdown to the downside in OO as well. We see less back tests on that, but that's possible as well.
This is a rare opportunity. We don't usually get this, where this would have opened yesterday. So we can actually look at yesterday's data now and see what would have happened. So you would have put this on yesterday at 10:56 a.m. Because we're doing a 5% allocation based on a $100,000 account. You would have opened 6 of these, and you paid $10.90 for it. So roughly, I can't do math this morning, but let's say $8,000.
Yeah.
And you got out for a $35 credit. And you got out by just letting it expire. And so let's look at the trade replay. The trade basically goes up as the market goes up. Now, eventually, if there's a day where it like just really shot up 100, 200 points, it wouldn't continue to go up. So this is a pinning trade. But in this case, it did exactly what you want it to do, which it went up, and we sat there. And as you sit there, and setting there, meaning like we were kind of like, if you look at this 54.70 line strike price, that 54.70 is kind of where we stayed for a lot of the day. And as you can see, once we were kind of in those short strike area, and again, remember, just to go back, I mean, where are the shorts? 54.80.
Okay.
So what's happening at that 54.70 is you're just slowly getting that theta decay of that butterfly.
Yeah, because you're close to that short strike.
Yeah. So those shorts are just slowly decaying while your long that's well in the money is keeping some of its value. And so we dipped a little bit. You can see we dipped there down to 450. Price goes down to the trade a little bit.
Pretty late in the day too.
Yeah, but then we rallied, and then the trade, more or less pinned.
Yeah.
I mean, you pinned at the 54.80, which is kind of a max profit. And so worked out really well. What's funny is this would have only traded 4 times this year because we've been in a downtrending market. We haven't had
Is that all year? Oh, that's just last month.
Sorry, Mauro, you're right. But it actually isn't that much more.
Yeah, I believe it. Your point stands.
Yeah. 24 times. But 4 months, almost 5 months. That's not too many instances.
That's not a lot of breakouts.
Because we haven't been above the 3-day SMA a lot this year. That's the main thing. So, but you can see year to date. I mean, what's crazy about this is important, I think, when we're talking about emotionalism and why automation is going to be so important and why we're launching it very soon, is when you look at a year to date and you say there ain't a chance in excuse my French, but a chance in New Orleans that I'm going to do this. Well, that's what data's for. Is data's there to prove you wrong. Never go for data that proves you right. Always try to find data that proves you wrong. That's a heuristic. But if you said all I do this year, we're in a downtrend market. My only trade is I trade on opening range breakouts to the upside.
Right.
people would be like, "Are you
in
out
upward
of
trending markets?"
And are
Yeah,
are
3
you
days.
out of your mind?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of removing the emotion from it. So we're going to talk a lot about this. We're going to have some big shows with some big guests in the coming month because automation's coming to the Option Omega platform. But one of the things that's super interesting to me is in those moments, the emotionalism of it is all based on size. Right. And
Right.
so if you're doing a one, like let's just real quick say a one lot, and we say, well, we'll just do one lots of SPX. You still would have obviously done really well. But here's the thing. If a $10.90 debit, the risk of losing that is too big percentage wise in your account, just all you have to do is trade smaller. That's all. It's actually I was having a conversation with someone the other day who's having an emotionally rough time, and the answer was very, very simple about something they had to do, but the emotion, they were just clouded by it. And that's what happens in trading is your emotion gets clouded. Say, this is actually really simple. It's a great strategy, right? Yes, it's a great strategy. So what made it a bad strategy? Well, I lost twice. Well, the strategy says you can lose twice. So what happened? My size is too big. That's the answer.
Period.
Yeah, and you can do range breakouts in other tickers besides SPX. This is convenient because you don't have to worry about shorts getting assigned or longs getting assigned. It's all cash settled, but you can certainly do a range breakout in SPY. The queues, those have assignment, so you have to understand that. But you mentioned automation. Let me speak on that for just a second because I do a lot of the customer support here at OO, and one of the questions I've gotten about the automation platform is specific to the orbs. Like, just in general, people wonder, can I automate an orb? And the answer is yes. I was the first alpha tester on the platform, and I have to look. Orb may have been the first trade I did, but have been automating them for the better part of a year. And the automation platform Orb functions the same way it does in the backtest. So yeah, just a quick aside that yes, they're, if you want to call it native to the platform or built into the platform, yes, it works the same way.
But part of getting the emotion out of your system is really understanding the trade. And for that, Dan, do you care to show us what we're looking at here from a trading perspective?
Yeah. Do you see my screen?
I do.
Let me make a few comments. This is probably one of my favorite directional strategies over the years. I call it a time bomb butterfly, right? You plant them out there. And so this is a balanced butterfly. So this is a balanced butterfly. Basically, if you look at the strikes here, folks, I'm just using last night's close in SPX 54.84. So the test is having you basically buying at the money, April 25, that's today, 54.85, go 20 points up on your short and then up another 20 points. So we're starting, let's pretend this is the breakout here. We have 54.84 is where we start. And then you have this wide range of loveliness where you make money. And you make money not just at the short strike. You can see here at the end of the day, you can make money, 54.95 up to 55.55. So you don't have to hit a bullseye. But normally, these balanced butterflies, for anybody who's trade balanced butterflies, if you trade, they're the highest yield strategy, right? They're going to be a higher yield strategy than some of the other long delta or bullish type trades. Long call, bullish vertical call debit spread. Now, you won't make as much money, but from a yield point of view, they're wonderful. This is 40 wide. So if you said, you know what, I'm a smaller account, if you wanted to trade this balanced butterfly, just how Troy set it up, instead of 40 wide, do it 20 wide, do it 10 wide. It can fit you. But what I like about them is, let me go backwards. if you look at this, I have April 25. What if I did this instead of April 25, April 29, 4 days out? What happens? I'm not long any deltas, right? If I ran it,
right? Your cost goes down.
your cost goes down, but it's the only on 0 day are you going to get it where here I'm starting out 10 deltas long, right? That's the beauty of this. If you do, I love planting these like at the expected move. The way I use these, I'll plant these on the expected move. Pick your time period, 3 days out, 4 days out, 2 days out, 5 days out, put them at the expected move. You can put them at little 20 wide for, a couple $100 at a $5,400 vehicle SPX. So putting these at the expected move are wonderful, right? They can be very good trades, but here you're starting out 10 deltas long. So it kind of acts like a vertical spread in a way, because, hey, it's expiring today. So these balanced butterflies, you could say you're starting out a little negative theta because you're at the monies, you're buying the at the money. But how wonderful it becomes as we go up. Like for today, the expected move for today is 60 points. So as you get up to that 55 and a quarter, which is like 40 points, 50 points up, and as Troy and Matt were talking about, you get the last couple hours in the day, this thing balloons, right? And from a yield, you spend, this says about $800, this thing can go to $3,000, right? Now that's a bullseye, but if it's up near the expected move, up near that 40 to 60 point mark, you can kill it, right? And again, better yield than a long call, better yield than a vertical debit spread. Now you got to deal with the downside. The other thing you can do is, this would be more, what do you call it, Matt? Where that mechanical, your arbitrary, what's
discretionary?
Discretionary, yeah. So discretionary, you think about it. You look at SPX right now. SPX, which is pretty amazing, since Monday, right? SPX since Monday is up from, if I hit this correctly, 5105.
Yeah, just a casual 300-400 point move, no big deal.
84. So if you want to say, okay, what's a cheap way to play the downside, right? Whether you do 0 day or plan it for Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, these trades are much cheaper shots. You could place it 40 below the market, 50 below the market, looking at the expected move for Monday or Tuesday or whatever. So these are nice trades. The downside is you do have, your risk is the debit, right? But what's great is with the orb, it's getting you in when the best possible, it's giving you, when you say the best possible chance for success, right? A breakout to the upside. And that's key. So I think the key to this strategy, more than the strategy, is the orb, right? But having a balanced butterfly that expires the same day gives you a chance to have the best yield type strategy. So I'm a big fan of the balanced butterfly. And when you match that with the orb, I think you have a winner.
Yeah, and there's on the platform, you can backtest widths. You can backtest. This is the type of test that, if you backtest a 40 wide in 2015, it's going to be a different setup than a 40 wide today. But
Absolutely.
you could use percentages to backtest on a longer term time frame and get some idea of the data of how it did, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, can I say one more quick thing? And this just got me thinking, and even for those of you who like homework over the weekend, I'm going to actually work on this over the weekend. Homework over the weekend would be, okay, you say, for those who say, you know what, guys, I'm not confident enough which side it's going, right? And I'm not either, right? That's why they discovered like double calendars and other strategies. But if you look at this, take a double butterfly and take a double butterfly over the weekend, and I'll work on this. You could take it 20 wide, 30 wide, whatever you want. place it near, very, very similar to this, place it near the expected move for Monday, right? So Monday, if we look at the expected move on Monday, is basically 100 points, right? With the volatility that we have. So if you place it, a 30 wide butterfly, 100 points down, a 30 wide butterfly, 30 points up, will you make as much as if you're 100% right on one side? No, but you'll make more, you'll make really good money if it just lands in one area, right?
Yeah. And that, that's an interesting question about trade structure too. Like, now that we're talking about it, I've never really thought about this, but what about backtesting a Rick on an orb? Like, to your point, you could backtest a Rick triggered on a range breakout. And because they don't always stick, there's plenty of times you have a false breakout, and maybe there's structures or more complicated things where you do a debit spread to one side and a butterfly on the other side. There's an infinite number of ways to backtest this. That might be a chat challenge of hey, what's another structure that works for an orb besides just a vertical or a butterfly? Another chat challenge might be maybe we spend a week doing downside orbs too, of a breakdown. And maybe we look at the inverse of when you have a break to the downside and you're in a bearish or a dumpy market, what strategies have positive expectancy in the back test then? That would be a super interesting topic to dig into.
Well, the Rick, real quick, the Rick is, I think could work the downside just as fine because it's long gamma, right? It's long gamma, it's long vega also. So as we go down, it can do well. And the other thing for people who are looking for homework assignments over the weekend, if you have like let's just say you took a reverse iron condor for the down, and you said, you know what? I don't know which way we go. I really believe we're not going to sit here at ES at 5,500 for that long. It could be a few days. There's so many combinations. I was thinking one, what maybe I would look at today, and I'm thinking of, okay, well, what if I think more, we've got to have something to the downside. We've been up 400 points in the SPX this week. What if you did like a 30 wide on the downside? I'm not sure exactly which direction, 30 wide on the downside and do 15 wide on the upside. So if I'm wrong and we go up, I'll break even or make a little bit. But if we go down, you hit a triple. Right? You really hit one. So I think there's endless combinations to test.
Yes.
And go over. But anyways, I like the orb. I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to be honest today, folks. I thought Troy is one of the more, among his many talents, one of the more creative guys I've seen. I thought he'd have a little Roy Orbison, because now I was thinking of the song. What is it? Pretty Woman?
Pretty Woman, yeah.
I thought Troy would have like him and Matt doing a version of Pretty Woman. Or
I love the Traveling Wilburys. If you've ever heard of them, that's a super group.
The super group, the OG super group.
George Harrison, they are. George Harrison, Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison.
Oh my
another
goodness.
guy in there. I don't know. Hey, one thing real quick to the point. Orbs are anything's infinitely changeable. I mean, that's the nice thing about back testing in general is you can test a couple different things. But to the point of doing some crazy stuff, this is a terrible test, but just to give you an idea, you can also set up orbs to collect credit and still have butterflies and still have
okay, what is this?
Still have
what you got here, Troy?
Well, basically, all you're doing is you're unbalancing it. So you got a 30 delta. You've got 5 points past that is where you sell the shorts, and then 20 points past that you sell the longs. And so, for instance, it changes completely the dynamic of how you would do this. So yesterday, you would have lost, right?
Yeah.
The vast majority of times, though, you're going to win because it either will go into the tent of profit at the end, be a really, really slow grind up, or it will just go back down and you will get. This is a perfect example.
This. Fascinating.
I like this. And you know what, Troy? What's nice about this is it gives you more long delta per dollar, right?
Yeah.
Because you the way you have that butterfly, like 5 wide, I think, on the downside, 15 wide on the upside.
Yeah.
Is that right? 58?
Well, yeah. So you have the long. So for in this case, the long was 52.80. The first long.
Yeah.
52.85 is where you're selling.
So 5 wide there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 20 points past the first long.
Oh, yeah. So what's nice, that's going to give you a nice long delta.
You've got room. You've got room to run a little bit. I mean, it'll blow the loser. You can definitely lose if it goes past it. But again, this is the beauty of this stuff, trying to think through this stuff, not telling you what to do, but here's an idea. What happens if you ran this with the other orb, reducing your debit? And what happens? Well, we also have a portfolio feature where you can combine those things. So, and test them out.
And it makes money quicker because you got more delta and probably a much wider range on this one, right?
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, on the upside, because you don't have to be as precise as the other.
You don't have to be as precise. And the plus is you'll make money if it goes down, if we go back into range. The downside is you'll lose money if it blows past it. But again, it's just a different way of playing. It's a different way of playing. So
that's a fascinating trade. Listen, I think we should explore that concept a little bit more. So you're not today, but next week maybe we could take another run at that. That may be another chat challenge.
Those are my favorite type of trades.
That's a troyster. That's a troyster.
Yeah. You can win coming and going.
Now, to the point of emotionalism, you talk about a sour feeling. Is you've collected a credit for a butterfly at a level you think is a safe place that we might get to but not go past, and then President Trump says, "Talking with China."
Yeah,
and you're 600
mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Well, so. It is like a big roulette game because it's like they could, it's like you're reading this. It's one thing to say, okay, these two people had a disagreement, this or that. Okay, here, you couldn't be as far away. Trump's saying, we have had conversations, and they're saying, we don't know what he's talking about. Right. Yeah. So, so where do you, that's like a powder keg. It's like, I don't even know you.
And that's why we have 300, 400 point moves in a day or a week.
Listen, independent. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, I just say, don't you think as much as people complain about Trump, or President Trump, and I don't, right. I really, I don't, I think from a market point of view, you're going to cry, right? You're going to cry when he's gone, or you're going to cry because, for a market at times with these type of trades, you want some instability, right? You don't want it. Does everybody here watching want it to go back to VIX 15?
No, I'm having the time of my life.
I know Troy is like, Troy be like, this is Troy,
I'm having the time of my life. Yeah. I've hit that age where I have to pee like 15 times a night. It's one of my favorite things, just to get up and look at futures.
Yeah.
Just pee a little bit, look at futures.
Oh, yeah. So this is perfect for you. You get up, trade, go back to bed, get up.
Oh, yeah.
Pee.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure I'm sleeping great. I'm sure I'm sleeping great. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, have a great weekend. We will look at some different, maybe butterfly structures next week, because I think, Matt, you're right. I think people look at butterflies as either you're collecting a credit. I think most people think butterflies are always centered. They're not centered. You can pick directions. You can pick directions collecting credit. You can pick directions with debits. It's a million things to do. You can pick different expirations for the shorts. You can pick different expirations for the longs.
Getting complex. The drunk orb son.
That's right.
Yes.
So anyway, well, guys, listen, have a great weekend. Side note, I'll just say this real quick. If I hear CNBC say animal spirits one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. I drive home every day and I listen to CNBC, and they literally every day will say the animal spirits are out. And I'm like, is this, I appreciate they're being honest. That largely this is just a pagan. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm going to go look at my trades. Have a good day. Yeah. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.